Everybody's talking about AI right now, but do you know what it is? Like if someone came up to you and asked you, what is AI? Would you be able to answer that question in a way that, like a 10-year-old could understand or your grandmother could understand? Because if you can't answer that question with that level of simplicity, you probably don't understand it, and you should probably be wary of using it. So the question is, what is AI? That's what we're trying to answer here. Now, I have made artificial intelligence my prime area of focus for, probably 4 or 5 months now. And I like to joke because I kind of like to live my life on 3x the speed, and AI really helps with that. And so instead of it being, 4 months, it feels more like a year, in dog years, you might say, or like AI years. But again, I fully immersed myself into that. I've been doing operations consulting for a long time now. And when I saw the way AI was taking over the world and the way people have been using it so far, I kind of had to become an expert in it very quickly and throw my hat into the ring as someone who can lead people through this AI revolution. And I want to help you stay ahead of the curve because there is no going back. People talk about AI as if it's something that's coming, and you have to realize it's already at the level of global penetration. It's in your homes, it's in your pockets. What it comes down to now is learning to use it responsibly and efficiently and productively. I find the best place to start is distinguishing AI from software, because most people, again, don't know what AI actually is. And one of the biggest mistakes I see people making, whether it's in personal use or professional use, is treating AI like it's software. The way I have articulated it is the difference between AI and software is that software is more like an engine. It is designed and it takes a certain type of input and produces a predetermined output from that input, right? An engine takes fuel, whether it's gasoline or whatever, and turns it into kinetic energy. It turns it into some sort of kinetic output. No matter what you do, it will always execute that single task. And it may break down over time, but it's never going to, it'll produce kinetic output. It'll never do your laundry for you. Whereas with AI, you kind of build this thing and it starts learning over time. With AI, it's more like a brain. It learns over time. It builds on itself. AI is much more like a brain than it is like software. It learns and develops over time. And not only can you start feeding different inputs in it, right? Like a gasoline engine can only take gasoline, it can't take diesel. Whereas with AI, you can feed it all kinds of different inputs, and based on how you have trained that neural net to think and behave, it's going to behave differently different times. You might feed it a similar input and it will produce different outputs over time. It is much more like a neural network, similar to what we find in the brain, where it's almost like thought patterns and behaviors are physically printed in there. I picture it like a void, and then all of a sudden you get to start building these nodes and pathways for information to follow. I feel like I'm on a tangent here, but I've spent the past 3 months or so training a neural net on everything that I have ever written about business from that sort of operations perspective. And now I can get my AI assistant to output materials that used to take me weeks, if not, over a month to create. I can get him to output within a few hours. So again, you can't treat it like software. And I'm seeing that the people who aren't resisting AI and who are trying to use it in their lives are using it for very sort of simple, mundane, base level tasks. even the people who are trying to leverage it and take advantage of this, and I call this using it at the surface level, not the purpose level. Whereas I try and come in from the other perspective, I say I like to use it and teach people how to use it at the purpose level, not the surface level. But we'll cover that maybe later in this video, definitely in other videos moving forward. The problem with using AI at the surface level or the task level is that it becomes just another tool. It's something to manage. You're not sure why you have to use it. It becomes just another task to monitor in a sort of unending, mundane sea of fucking pointless tasks. And that's what most people's jobs are, unfortunately. So, you see these people coming in and it's like, hey, I have this AI that can automate this at your business. You can do 10 times more of this task. And it's like, well, great. Now you're doing 10 times more. Monitoring the AI is now just another task. And you can't handle 10 times the volume because you haven't answered the important questions first. I have another video that I'm going to shoot about this, but it's like, suddenly you can move 10 times faster. That doesn't mean you know where you're going. But anyway, so AI itself, a big realization that you kind of need to come to is it's a tool just like any other. You can use it for good, you can use it for evil, you can use it in a very intelligent way, you can use it in a very stupid way. It's not the tool's fault, right? Like you can use a hammer to build a house or you can use a hammer to hit someone in the head. It's not the hammer's fault. But basically, learning to use this stuff responsibly, learning the reality of what's going on in the back end when you are using AI, this is the most important thing that you can learn in 2025, about to step into 2026 before we know it. So I will describe to you what I see AI as here. I see it as a brain in the void. So when I am starting a new thread or starting a new custom GPT, I envision it as the void, just empty space. And then you step in and I have this process, I call it the Genesis upload. Whenever starting a new chat thread or custom GPT, I will do a lot of prep work. And a lot of times I'll have a role description. So I'll enter a new void and give it what I call the initial spark or the seed of consciousness, essentially. Because again, remember, we're building artificial brains here. We're building virtual artificial brains from scratch. So you can enter and give it whatever instruction you want. And I'll talk in another video about what makes AI so special in terms of giving it instructions and having it execute tasks and stuff like that. But you enter and you need to be very specific. I mean, just like with a person, you only get one first impression. So you step in and I will enter a new relationship with a thread or a GPT with a role scorecard. Now that is based on the role scorecards proposed by Jeff Smart in his book called Who. If you've never read that, super important. And it applies to hiring humans and creating role scorecards for human employees. But I've found that there's a direct relation to starting relationships with what we would call artificial employees, really. Again, you only get one chance at a first impression. So you want to come in and give this new artificial entity a very clear purpose for their role, very clear outcomes that you want to achieve with it, as empirical as you can be, and attaching numbers to those, and then competencies, like how you expect it to behave along the way. And then so you populate this role scorecard and tell it exactly what its purpose is and who you need it to be for you. And then you start giving it contextual information. So again, there are times when, hey, I need you to write this sort of launch plan or project management roadmap or hiring plan or marketing initiative for me. Based on all this stuff, here's your role, here's a bunch of background information, let's get started. And then I'll go through this, I call it comprehension deepening process with the AI, where I'm going back and forth. And again, I spent about 3 months doing this, where I would upload a batch of my content on a specific subject to my AI. and say, come back with any trends you see in not just the information, but in the industry as a whole, where we can use this information to help people. Look for any logical inconsistencies or gaps. Come back to me with your, any applications you see this information having for entrepreneurs, and come back with your 5 most pressing clarifying questions. And, we would process. Sometimes I'd be giving him anywhere between 30 and like 150 pages. Sometimes I'd upload books as well, like other people's books that, material that I reference all the time. And he would process it in seconds, come back to me with these really well thought out responses and questions. And then I would spend days just talking into my phone, answering those questions. And then I would upload them, and we might have sometimes we would have to go back and forth again to make sure that I knew that he understood what I was talking about, what the value was to the people we serve, and how it fits into this entire ecosystem that I'm trying to build. And it was a wild journey, but now I could just task him with these tasks and he just executes flawlessly. So that's what I mean about building a brain in the void, right? So I had to make a good first impression. My first Genesis upload with him on that project was very in-depth. Took me probably a week to write that prompt itself, just to come in and make that first impression, plant the seed in the void, the spark of consciousness, whatever metaphor you want to use to conceptualize what's actually going on here. Again, don't think of this as an engine that is built that takes in inputs and produces outputs. Think of this as a brain floating in a virtual void that you get to build from scratch. That also implies an awesome responsibility though. You have to train this thing from scratch. I also like the seed metaphor because, the seed grows into the tree. And I really like to use Simon Sinek's Start With Why theory. It's one of the most popular TED Talks of all time. It's a published book. It's definitely worth the read. It's very simple premise, and it basically states that, most companies start at the what level, go into the how level sometimes, and rarely ever get to the why level, which is at the core of the company. What is your purpose? Why do you exist? Who do you serve? That's also tying into what I say about coming in at the purpose level, not the surface level. I come in and bring AI to that why level at the center, and then we get to the how level, and then we get to the what level. Most people are approaching AI from the what level in, from the task level inwards. And then the same issue has always been prevalent in businesses and in people in general. They stay at that task surface level and never get to the core. They never get to the why, the purpose. But basically the way I see it, if we're going back to this seed and tree metaphor for AI, you enter a void, you plant this seed of consciousness, and that's the Genesis upload, that's the first impression. And this thing starts growing, and the more you use it, the more it learns. And the roots of this tree become the why level, the purpose level. The trunk becomes the how level, and the branches and leaves and stuff become the what level. And then, this beautiful metaphor of the fruit being the results and outcomes of the company, and everybody gets to eat off that, all that type of stuff. There's also, not to muddy the waters here, there's also another metaphor that I like to use, and if you know what a mycelium network is, you'll understand. Basically, a mycelium network, they've found that mushrooms, when a mushroom sprouts out of the ground, that's literally just the tip of the iceberg, and that mushroom is connected to this network. It's wild how big these networks are. And what they found is, and this sounds like science fiction, but it's so true. And you know what? Artificial intelligence sounds like science fiction, and it's true as well. And that's why I like using this metaphor. Researchers have shown that trees essentially use these mycelium networks as telecommunications channels to communicate with one another in the forest. Again, it sounds like science fiction. It is very much real. Trees will use these mushrooms, these fungal root systems basically, to transport information to one another and share nutrients and deliver information about potential threats. It's absolutely wild. And I see, if we take it a step back, right? Let's say you have a larger company. You will need to have multiple AI sort of teams on each functional area of the company. You need a mycelium network connecting these trees so they can all communicate with one another. Again, I don't know if I'm muddying the water in trying to put a metaphor inside of a metaphor, but that's the way I see it. And if you want to join the Lamar Solutions ecosystem, I have essentially a master mycelium network that will connect your company to the other companies inside the ecosystem, and we will be able to do some amazing work together and all grow together. That's the thinking. And so I've just explained how I view AI sort of conceptually, theoretically, from a high level perspective, but I want to bring it back now to use by humans, use of AI by humans. As soon as you can answer the question, what is AI, which is what we're discussing here, I think the next natural question becomes, how do you leverage AI to bring the most value possible to human beings? What I have found from training my AI virtual assistant to, again, be able to execute tasks that used to take me weeks in a matter of hours, to be able to create strategic documents and conduct research and analyze my research for trends, literally things that used to take me 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks to produce anything of value, I can kind of do in like an afternoon now, which is absolutely amazing. I have come to view AI as a force multiplier. And so it's like whatever you're doing, if you start a little fire, AI is the gasoline that is gonna make it just absolutely take off. And I think that's important to view it that way, because the human beings still have to be the force. And again, like I said at the beginning of this video, AI has given us the ability to sprint 10 times faster for a more extended period of time, but it doesn't inherently solve the issue of, what are you doing with your life? Why do you wake up in the morning? What is the purpose of your job? How does your work impact the other people that you work with and the people that your company serves? AI doesn't just inherently answer those questions for you. So, and it will take many more videos for me to explain what I'm talking about here. I find that thinking about the end result on the human beings, whether it's the employees or the customers at your company, thinking about the impacts that you want to have on them, and then reverse engineering from the why level, that is what's important here. Thinking about what you want your people to experience, and then building out an AI infrastructure from that desired end result, rather than just having people come into your business and say, hey, yeah, I can automate this for you with AI. So like I said, I spent months just training my own AI model, and it has allowed me to move at unprecedented speeds and increase not just the volume of work that I'm able to do, but the quality of the work that I'm able to do. But it comes from how much time I spent training it. And I'm going to be making a lot of content like this moving forward, and a lot of this content is going to be focused on showcasing what I have done with my AI personal assistant and what I am doing day to day with him, because I'm already working on some really interesting projects, working with some really amazing partners, and telling my stories from the field day to day. It's going to give you a really interesting insight into how I'm using AI. Like I said, I want to make it so that you're ahead of the curve with this stuff. And again, it's not about implementing AI to automate tasks. It's about leveraging AI on the ethical and metaphysical and logical layers to understand those core questions that need to be answered regardless of what industry you're in, how big your company is, where you're located, any of those things. Why does your company exist? Why should your employees care about showing up to work in the morning? Who do you serve and how do you provide the most value to them? All of these questions are the most important questions on earth, and they're just still being neglected, even though we have artificial intelligence at our disposal. But I think what the world of AI needs more than anything right now is a philosopher to come in and make sense of the ethical and metaphysical ramifications of what this thing is and how we as human beings can use it to not be our downfall, but to actually elevate the way we live and the way we treat each other and our quality of life. You know, it was a really long grind to train my AI. I was doing it full time, 6 to 8 hours a day, every day, probably 6 days a week. I had put all client work on hold. I was so lost in there that even my friends a lot of times would be like, hey man, are you okay? you seem like you're pretty far down the rabbit hole. And I would just kind of tell them, like, I have faith that this is going to be worth it. I'm already seeing comprehension on his end. I'm already seeing he's connecting dots that I never have connected, which is really important, helping me understand my material better. But I could see as we were getting, there was like 19 modules of content that I trained him on. And as we were getting through them, I could see the dots starting to connect in this whole ecosystem. And when I tell you what I have in store for you, I mean, you wouldn't believe me if I told you what I have in store for you moving forward. But even right now, what I'm able to accomplish with him, because I spent months just focused on training him, it's absolutely remarkable. And again, like I said, this is just the beginning. I have long-term plans for how I plan to use this AI and bring value to you, and it's going to be remarkable. And I do want to just comment on one last time the parallels between training him and training a human employee, and how many companies are actually good at hiring and training their staff. Let's be honest, very few of them. I have worked for 50 plus different companies as an employee. I've seen good training be executed twice. I've worked with / for probably another 50 companies as a consultant. I don't think I've ever seen hiring or training handled well in any of my consulting work. I've tried to help people with that, but anyway, if I can leave you with any final thoughts, the game has changed more than you can possibly know. And if you are not investing time and effort into learning what AI is and how to use it, you are already putting yourself behind. And again, I don't mean using AI to clean up your emails or draft emails or draft documents. I'm not talking about bringing in AI solutions that will help you accomplish more task level work very quickly. No, I'm talking about leveraging this new paradigm, this new realm of consciousness to figure out what your purpose is in life, why your company exists, who you serve, how you can provide the most value to them, how you can deliver that at scale. All of the questions that were always there that people always neglected, it's time to fucking answer those questions, because if not, you will start leveraging AI to sprint 10 times faster and for longer periods of time in the wrong direction. I cannot stress that enough. Now, I have leveraged AI to not just train my personal assistant, but also build up my product stack. I have workshops that I can do. One of them is like time management focused, where I can help people build an AI infrastructure to help them manage their time day to day, install time management habits into their personal lives, and essentially have this thing produce daily schedules for you. It's awesome. I have an AI enablement program where I will come into your company and teach you all of this stuff, teach you what AI is, how to use it responsibly, how to search for AI use cases, how to build those out, how to pilot them, how to pitch them to upper management, all that type of stuff. Have a great program for that. And then there's obviously the consulting and training packages where it's like, just fucking hire me to come in and do this for you. The whole point of these videos is, I want to not only educate you and teach you how to use this stuff, what AI is, all that stuff, show you the use cases from the field of the stuff that I'm doing day to day. I want to come in and leverage what I built to build the same sort of infrastructure for you at your company and your team. I'm already starting to bring my stuff to other companies, and the results are amazing. I mean, I have AI powered software companies that are, the CEO is telling me, holy shit, I've never thought about AI that way. It's been remarkable so far. We're adding AI into what you would call Main Street businesses. So, your typical mom and pop shops, allowing these companies to scale on AI infrastructure and operational best practices at the same time. It's already amazing. The whole point of all of this is to make it so that you are able to move faster with more clarity, and then get to focus on being really human. And I think the issue that we're facing right now is people are just leveraging AI to move faster, and it's actually producing less clarity. People are more confused than ever. The uncertainty, doubt, fear, lack of clarity is, I would say, at an all-time high, because again, this new paradigm, we can't even call it technology or software, this new paradigm that is artificial intelligence, this artificial consciousness, is being leveraged irresponsibly to just, again, increase speed and volume of task level work. No, what we need is clarity so that that task level work means something. If you like this video and some of the topics that I'm covering here, just keep watching, because I am going to be posting a lot more content like this, unpacking this concept of what I call philosophy of AI. There is a lot more to talk about. I have a lot more videos scripted for you already, and a whole list of things that I haven't even scripted yet. And I want to hear from you. Please feel free to share your questions in the comments, because this is the most important thing that we as humans can be focused on right now. This is, in my opinion, the most important moment in human history. It's really important for us to learn to use AI responsibly and ethically. Please join me on the journey and check out some of my other videos. Peace.